It was the double-doink heard around the world. Cody Parkey, for the 5th time this season, hit the upright, and then the crossbar. His failed attempt at a game-winning field goal had cost the Chicago Bears a come-from-behind playoff win over the Philadelphia Eagles. The odds of a kicker hitting the uprights 5 times in one season are so absurd few watching could believe it had happened, but perhaps we shouldn't have been surprised after an exhilarating game. There was great offense and defense. There were officiating snaffus, busted coverages, creative play calls, great clock management, and terrible clock management. Moments of utter brutality were interspersed with astonishing feats of athleticism. We witnessed football near its finest. NFL at NFL, Cody Parkey's would-be game-winning FG hits the crossbar twice, sending the Eagles to the divisional round. Parkey's miss will come to define the game. But his is not the most interesting story. Nick Foles' is. Again. Foles is now 6-0 in must-win games, running the table this season to get the defending champs back to the postseason. And still, there are doubters. You are reading one now. Foles' December to January greatness has become so hard to explain that we may as well stop trying. He wasn't perfect on Sunday. Ever, Big Nick attempted Big Nick throws, which usually include a 300-pound behemoth barreling towards his chest. Somehow, improbably, he completes more of those throws than any quarterback in the league. Foles is top of the NFL's ratings for passes made on contact. But those kinds of throws will come back to bite a player every now and then. Foles tossed a couple of interceptions against the league's best defense, including an awful ball delivered with 4 defenders converging on his intended receiver. But Foles kept coming. In what would likely have been his final game for the team had they lost, he engineered the perfect 2-minute drill to put Philly up by a point with under a minute to go. It was a lead they would not relinquish. Chicago could not have done much more. Their defense was excellent for most of the game. Indeed, the prevailing wisdom heading into the postseason was that Chicago's defense would carry quarterback Mitch Trubisky and the offense. Not so, Trubisky played exceptionally, making clutch throw after clutch against a complex defense with all the savvy of a playoff veteran. Halted by an early leg injury, Trubisky didn't have his usual wheels, a key element in the Bears' offense. He was forced to play from inside the pocket. The ball came out quickly, on time and in rhythm. He picked on the Eagles' young defensive backs, hitting big, important shots downfield. After Foles' gut-check drive, Trubisky responded in kind, delivering the play of the night on a corner route to Allen Robinson to put the Bears into game-winning position. Stadium, what a throw by Trubisky and catch by AR15pick.twitter.com/webcurb January 7, 2019. There are a handful of quarterbacks walking the earth who have the velocity, touch, and precision to make the kind of throw in the video above. Apparently, Trubisky is one of them. If only he had a kicker. That may be a little harsh. Parkey was a lucky bounce away from being the hero. Now, he will be the pariah. I feel terrible, Parkey said after the game. I thought I hit a good ball. Fortunately for him, it's not like Chicago has a history of vilifying an individual for a loss in a team sport. Foles and the Eagles will move on to face the New Orleans Saints, looking for a 7th win in a row in win-or-go-home games. This really is a weird and wonderful game. Video of the week: the NFL couldn't get through a weekend without a series of replay review blunders. The most bizarre came in Chicago, with our first ever catch fumble incomplete play. Kevin Boillard, at 247. Kevin Boillard, former NFL official and NBC rules analyst Terry McCauley, on the Anthony Miller catch and fumble being ruled an incomplete pass because there was no clear recovery. I guess that's the rule. The ruling was correct, though announced poorly by the on-field referee, and is merely a quirk of a protracted rulebook. It was the strangest replay review the league had seen for at least 2 hours. Video of the Week, Part 2. Next week we get to see this guy, Ollie Connolly, at Ollie Connolly. Patrick Mahomes is absurd. pic.twitter.com/bcircumch4 January 6, 2019 MVP of the Week Melvin Ingram was a disruptive force as the Chargers ended the Ravens season. Photograph, Tommy Gilligan, USA Today Sports. Melvin Ingram, Los Angeles Chargers. This could and probably should go to the entire Chargers defense. Entering the fourth quarter on Sunday, the Ravens had negative passing yards. The Chargers had more sacks, 6, than the Ravens had first downs, 4. Ingram was the star of the show in the Chargers' win. The pass rusher racked up 2 sacks, 2 quarterback hits, and recovered a game-clinching fumble. Like Joey Bosa, his marvelous running mate, Ingram shuffles right across LA's front. The pair took turns clowning each member of the Ravens' offensive line. Stat of the Week 15. Lamar Jackson's game-sealing fumble was his 15th of the season. No player had more fumbles in 2018 than Jackson, even though he started less than half the season. Sunday proved Jackson has plenty of flaws to address, but holding onto the ball is the most essential. Quote of the Week, you can call it what you want. Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin on reports star wide receiver Antonio Brown has requested a trade. As Ron Burgundy would say, that escalated quickly. The drip, drip, drip of information out of Pittsburgh this week has been as compelling as it has been absurd. I'm all for player empowerment, and I side with labor over management on many of the issues that dog the NFL. But come on, you have to at least show up for the job you're paid to do. A new report suggests the Steelers will ship Brown out of Pittsburgh by the 13th of March, the start of the new league year. Finding a credible landing spot is tough. Only the Jets and Bills have the cap room and need, without sacrificing a serious amount of their current roster. And what incentive do the Steelers have exactly? Brown will cost the team the same amount regardless of whether he's on the roster or not, a $25 million cap charge. Moving on from a distraction is the kind of thing fans crow about on Twitter. Smart teams like the Steelers don't typically succumb to that kind of pressure, they make analytical decisions, not emotional ones. But this time feels different. This time feels far more combustible. Management is siding with its coach and quarterback, which other members of the team, most notably Brown and Le'Veon Bell, view as an extension of management itself. There is distrust throughout the organization. Something will give. Elsewhere around the league, the Colts' future looked bright under Frank Reich and Andrew Luck. Photograph, Troy Tormina, USA Today Sports. On Saturday night, the Seahawks limited Russell Wilson to 21 pre-final drive pass attempts during their loss in Dallas. Their running backs carried the ball 21 times for 59 yards, 2.81 YPC. Wilson averaged 8.6 yards per pass attempt. Yikes. At least they established the run and showed their identity, right? Remember the Josh McDaniels Indianapolis Colts will-he-won't-he saga? That feels like a million years ago. Frank Reich was the afterthought, not even the team's second choice, and now they're in the divisional playoffs. Sometimes the best deals in life are the ones you don't make. Think about this, the 12-4 Chargers traveled all the way to Baltimore to beat the 10-6 Ravens. Now, they get to travel all the way to New England to play the 11-5 Patriots. The Chargers worked all season to secure the second-best record in their conference. They've been rewarded with 2 cross-country trips, 1 an early kickoff. The NFL needs to rethink its playoff seedings. Guarantee division winners a spot in the playoffs, but seed the tournament by overall record. Texans had a good season, but much of their success was a mirage. Here's a list of the quarterbacks the Texans faced prior to their playoff loss to Andrew Luck and the Colts: Tom Brady, Blaine Gabbert, Eli Manning, Luck, Dak Prescott, Nathan Peterman, Cody Kessler, Brock Osweiler, Case Keenum, Alex Smith, Marcus Mariota, Baker Mayfield, Luck, Sam Darnold, Nick Foles, Blake Bortles. Hardly a murderer's row. Despite the less-than-stellar competition, the team finished with the 18th best pass defense by DVOA. In his 3 games against the Texans' defense, including his 4th game back from shoulder surgery this year, Luck finished 86 135th, with a 64% completion percentage, 966 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 1 interception. The Texans are much further away from a championship than their record would indicate.